You have your Week 1 NFL Power Rankings. So starting off at number 10, I'm going to have the Dallas Cowboys down 3 spots from the post-Super Bowl Power Rankings. And the Cowboys, they really didn't do much over free agency or the draft, really. They lost a couple of big pieces like Tyron Smith, um, Pollard, and they lost Bland for the first half of the season. And Dallas, they just really did not improve. They actually got worse a little bit. Like I said, they brought in barely any new pieces, and they lost a couple of core-ish pieces. So Cowboys, I still think they're a very talented team, but not quite as talented as they were like last season. But they still have a pretty similar team. And then number 9, I'm gonna have the LA Rams staying where they are. The Rams, to me, it's the story of their offense and their defense. Their offense, to me, is very good. They have very good wide receivers in Puka, Cup, um, Robinson, Atwell, and their offensive line, I think, is underrated once their offensive line is healthy and Stafford's a good quarterback. However, it's their defense. They traded away Dearness Johnson. I'm worried about those cornerbacks. Starting Tre'Davious White's coming off an injury. I'm worried about how they're going to replace Donald. So the Rams, I think they're number 9 because of their offense, which is really talented, but it's their defense I'm really concerned about. Keeping me from putting them any higher than number 9, which might be overrating them a little bit. Number 8, I'm gonna have the New York Jets coming onto this list. The New York Jets, they just on paper they look really good. However, pretty much everybody's had the same last year, so I refuse to put them that high. But on paper, they look really good. The offensive line should improve once everybody gets healthy. They brought in Mike Williams. Their defense is still really good. It's just everything is on paper right now, so I can't put them that much higher. And then number 7, I'm gonna have the Buffalo Bills down 2 spots from the previous power rankings of the Bills. They lost huge loss. Stephon Diggs. They lost Poyer. They lost Hyde. They lost Matt Milano. They have a lot of losses. However, a lot of young guys I believe will step up. They still have a Josh Allen. James Cook is still really good. They still have guys like Ed Oliver on defense. So I still think the Bills are a top team, but they are a little bit down from the previous power rankings. However, I still see them as a contending team. And number 6, I'm gonna have the Green Bay Packers staying where they are. Number 6, Packers. They just have a really young team. Similar to the kind of the Jets. On paper, they look really good. Their defense has some really good pieces like Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander. They brought in Xavier McKinney, and their offense still should be very good. However, they're slightly unproven, so I'm not gonna have them in my top 5. At number 5, I'm gonna have the Houston Texans up 3 spots. Probably the team that improved probably the most during the offseason. They brought in big piece Stephon Diggs. And that alone boosts their offense quite a lot. And then you have a lot of young pieces like Stingley on their defense, and they brought in Hunter. So I think the Texans, they deserve to be in 5th spot. Their team is looking real good, and they're up 3 spots. And number 4, I'm gonna have the Baltimore Ravens down a spot. They lost quite a few pieces in the offseason, like their coordinators, Geno Stone, a lot of their offensive line. However, they still have their core pieces like Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Matabike. So I still think the Ravens are a top team, but they did lose quite a few pieces. I could see them dropping early in the season, but I still have them 4th. And number 3, I'm going to have the 49ers also dropping a spot. They have been a very uncertain team this offseason. However, they still are one of the most talented teams. Defense is still good with Ward, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. Um, However, it's their offense. Like Brandon Ayuk just signed his contract. Trent Williams signed their contract, which honestly kept them not in the top 3. I probably would have dropped them below the Ravens had those signings not been done. However, those signings are done, but I'm still worried about that Niners offensive line a little bit, so I still have them at 3. And number 2, it's going to be the Detroit Lions. They did a lot of good things in the offseason. They shored up those secondary with a couple of rookies. Um, and their offensive line is still really, really good. They have a very well-rounded team. I think honestly more well-rounded than the 49ers at this point. And then teams that dropped out from the postseason power ranking is going to be the Dolphins. I think they lost a couple of big pieces like Wilkins, Hunt, Williams, and they did replace them with older pieces. The team just isn't as talented as they were last year, but they'd probably be at number 11 if I extended the power rankings. And number 1, obviously, I still have the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, they didn't really lose any huge pieces other than maybe L'Jarius Sneed, but they still have a very good defense. Chris Jones is still there, and offensively, they brought in a couple new pieces like Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown once he's healthy, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they're still the top team. They're the defending champs. So there you have it, my NFL Week 1 power rankings.